top of the page, right? Welcome everyone. We're on Brachas Taf Chof Hey Amud Beis, and we're in the third wide line. Tanu Rabban Itmar. We learned in a brisa, Keva Reyes Erva Muta, that if his heel sees his erva, it's muta to say krishma. Negeh, but if his heel touches his erva, it's a machlekes. What's the machlekes? Abai Yoma Asur, Rava Ama Mutar. And actually, the place can discuss whether it's every other part of your body also, or just your heel, if your heel touches your erva. In other words, the Rishonim explain that if some body part's touching his erva, he's gonna start fantasizing more, or get warmed up. It's more likely that he's gonna get involved in fantasy world. So therefore, it's also. That's the machlekes. Rav Zvid, Masil Hashmaisa, Hachi. He told it like this. Rav Chanina Bereder of Ika Masil Hachi. Negeya Divrei Kol Asur. If something's touching it, it's asa. Roya, but if it sees it, by Ama asa, Rava Amuta. By Negeya, everyone agrees it's asa. What's the machlekes by Rava? If his heel or other body part sees his erva. The Gemara says, why is it muta? Rav explains, how could it be muta? Because this is the first time in Shas we need to decide. The principle is that the Torah wasn't given to angels. Meaning, it's impossible to learn Torah otherwise. It becomes impossibly difficult to make sure that no body part of his is going to see his erva. What's he going to do? And they say the Malach HaShos don't have an erva. So for them it would be okay. It's not a problem for the Malachim. They don't have an erva. But the Torah wasn't given to them. It was given to human beings. And therefore, it's a principle that we say all over Shas. When something becomes too difficult, the Torah wasn't given to angels. And you have to know when to apply it or when not to apply it. But I don't know. I didn't see clear guidelines when they say this. You say it. I guess whenever the gemorah says it, we can say it. It's too difficult, and therefore it's muta. If something touches your erva, it's also, but roya is muta. Amar Rava, hold me a second now. Amar Rava, tsoya bashashis muta likros krishma konegda. If there's human waste in a shashis, what's a shashis? A glass, in glass, muta likros krishma konegda. So a person's got, a test tube, or he's got one of those containers to hold the waste. Muta likros krishma konegda. There's no reach, obviously. He can see it, it's glass, but there's no smell. Erva bashashis, but if someone sees an erva through an ashashis, through this glass, also likros krishma konegda. You can't say krishma. Let's just take a look in Rashi. It's actually about 10 lines higher up. In Rashi, bashashis, what's going on over here? So Rashi says ashashis is lantira belaz. Sounds a lot like a lantern, I think, right? A lantern. That's ashashis. So you put in this lantern, koloima, what does it mean? Mechitzas chuchis. It's got a glass barrier. There's a glass thing, oy klaf dak, or some type of thin material between you and the erva, or you and this tzaya, right? So back to gemorah. So gemorah says, tzaya bashashis is muta, it's okay, but the erva bashashis is also. And that makes sense, right? The Pri Megadim says, by the way, even if you hold the erva bashashis is also, you're not allowed to say krishma in front of an erva bashashis, there's someone behind the glass door, a glass shower wall, right? So the Pri Megadim says, everyone will agree that if you close your eyes, then it's going to be mutter to say krishma. The problem is if your eyes are open, you can see. You close your eyes, you don't have a problem. If there's no glass, it's a machlekes if closing your eyes helps. But there is glass, it's like there's a mechitza, and you're closing your eyes, you can't see, so there's nothing to worry about. So, what's the difference between saya and erva? What's the difference between nudity and waste? Why is one mutter, one also if it's behind glass? So Gemara says, why? The tsoya bekisui tali milsa. To waist is tali in, it depends on whether it's covered. If there's a covering, v'amichsia, and it's covered in this glass, so therefore you can say krishma. It's not disgusting to you. It's covered. You're not disgusted by it. There's no smell. It's covered. Everybody so why can you not get krishma in front of nudity? Because there's a pasuk, you can't see an erva, and here you can see through the glass. You can see. It happens to be, they try and learn from here whether certain things you can do through glass. For example, are you allowed to do Avdallah, Nerev Avdallah? Can you do it through glass? If you see a candle, is that okay? Some say yes, some say no. It's here it's only in seeing, there it's also only in seeing. They say, but the ner, you have to be nana from the, or you can be nana through glass.
Which is different than listening to a chauffeur.
Through, with the bounces off a wall.
Yeah.
Right. Another thing that they're going to discuss over here is what happens. A very common question. So every bashashas is also. You're not allowed to show nudity in front of saying Krishma, right? So what happens with a mezuzah that's made out of plastic or glass? You have these like nice plastic or glass mezuzahs. You see the cloth. Is a person allowed to be with his wife in a room where there's a mezuzah like that? So they say for sure you need two kisuyim. You always need two kisuyim, right? So one kisui is for sure problem. One cover. But let's say you got two plastic covers. There's like, it's wrapped in plastic, and then it's in a plastic, that's often where they wrap the mezuzah in like nylon to keep it dry. I don't know why they do that. To keep it moist, it shouldn't get wet. I don't know what. And then they put that in like in a plastic, plastic mezuzah case, and you can see the Hebrew letters is pretty, right? Or even if the whole thing's made out of wood, but there's like a little window in it. Sometimes they do like a little window in the mezuzah, right? You can see the letters of the mezuzah. Is that also? L'chayra, yeah, you can see through it. Erva is taliyin, seeing. You can see. Some say no. If there's two kisuyim, I don't think anyone says if there's two kisuyim, it's fine. If you could see it, I think if you could see through, they say it's a problem. You shouldn't have a mezuzah in a bedroom that you can see through. You need two kisuyim that you can't see. The question is you need two kisuyim. What happens if one of them is see-through and one of them is not see-through? Do they both have to be not see-through? To the place you say that's okay. It's fine as long as one of them you can't see through, you can't see the mezuzah. You don't need two kisuyim that are non-see-through. Okay. Side point. Says the gemorah. Amma Abaye. Says Abaye. Tzaya kolshu mevat leboraik. If you've got a small amount of human waste on the floor, you can cancel it out. You do bittel with reik. You spit on it. Now there's a principle called bittel. If you've got a little bit of non-kosher food in a big pot of kosher food, in certain circumstances, we say bottle b'roiv, bottle b'abmeya, whatever it is, bottle betray, different klalim, but it's bottle. So you got this tiny bit of feces on the floor. You're standing there, you can't leave. You spit on it. Amar Rava Buraikova. It's got to be thick spit, mucus. It can't be a little bit of thin, watery saliva. It's got to be a thick mucus. And it's actually a machlekes rishonim. Why does it have to be thick? What does that help you? Is it so that it's the thin one you can see through? We said glass is fine, right? It's a bit of a kasha. Glass is fine, but if it says b'shashes, l'chayr, it's not a problem. So, I guess he holds like the other shita that it is a problem. Or his pshat is that if it's thick, the smell doesn't come through. That's an akuda here. It's not moss. Either it's because you can't see it, it's not moss because you can't see it. Oh, it's thick. I would say I think it's totally in bittel. We're talking about bittel here. A little bit thin saliva doesn't cancel it out. But if it's a little piece of waste and it's covered in this thick mucus, then it's bottle. Okay. So the Gemara says, Amar Rava. That was Abaye's name. Amar Rava, Tsoya Beguma, Menich Sandla. What's a Tsoya Beguma? He's walking down the street, and there's a hole, there's a guma, there's a ditch, a little hole in the floor. and the crack in the pavement, and there's a bit of waste there. So what does he do? Maniach sandal elei, puts his shoe on top of it, v'kar kriya shema. Then it's covered, and he can say kriya shema. The Rishonim ask, like, what's the chiddush? You can't see it, it's covered, there's no smell, so what's the chiddush over here? So what they say is, the chiddush is that you might think that your shoe is part of your body. Your clothes is bottled to you, so it's like you're next to the tzaya. The answer is no, that's not considered your on the tzaya, it's your shoe. So, we'll see the next question, this is much more common. What happens if this shoe, there's waste stuck on, there's dog's waste stuck on his shoe? Can you say kriya shema? Teiku. Is that like sandalay aleya, right, which is muta, or is that now what's stuck to you, teiku, and the Paishim say it's teiku, here it's a suffix deraisa, you have to be machmer, right? Sveika deraisa, you got to be machmer. So if the guy's got dirty shoes, he can't say kriya shema. Amar Yehuda. Akum orum also likros kriya shema connected. You can't say kriya shema in front of nudity. Mayir akum afil Yisrael nami. It should always be asa. The gemorah says Yisrael pshitlu dosa. Yisrael it's kosa asa. La akum tzricha. You need to tell me about akum because ma'alatei mohav chzibu Hashem b'sach hamorim b'sar. There's a pasuk. So ema kachama ba'almahu kumashmal, and you might think that it doesn't apply. The inu nami ikru erva, t'chsiv erva saviyim leira. It's also considered. It's all considered an erva. You can't say kriya shema in front of any type of erva. It's all asa. Says the gemorah. You can't cover it. This is what the Mishnah says. You shouldn't cover with maimarayim, water that's got, I think he said flax in it, or dirty water, actually little mayim. So if there's, the Mishnah is talking about a case where there's a puddle of mayim, of past water, and you're supposed to put water in it to cancel it out. So if it come a maya rami vaza, how much water do you have to pour on this someone's past water, and you pour water on top of it, and now you can say kriya shema next to it, right? How much water? Just take a look in Rashi to get an idea. It's very important, Rashi. It's also, again, like 20 lines up, just below where we were. It says, V'kama maya rami v'azel. Rashi says, Kama yash lechateichen v'yivatlim. How much water do you have to pour into the urine in order that you cancel out? To cancel it out. Why? So Rashi says, Halay murubim hein. Rashi throws in these three words. I don't know what he's coming to add. Well, I do know, maybe. Rashi says, Halay murubim hein. This guy's got there's a huge puddle on the floor. He wants to say kriya shema. So what should you do? How much water do you have to pour in to cancel out the wet on the floor, right? So the Paishim say, what if there's only a tiny bit of on the floor? And then what's he going to see? The Gemara says you need to pour a revius. What if there's only a little bit on the floor? Do you still have to pour a revius, or it's enough to pour a little bit? Rashi, the implication from Rashi is, the whole question here is that you got so much, how much you're going to start pouring buckets of water onto this? So take a look at the Gemara. The Gemara says, Amalei. You shouldn't cover it with bad, dirty water, or mei mishra, also dirty water, or mei reglai, you got to pour water in. Tana Rabbanon. How much should you pour inside? Koshu. So the first opinion is how much water do you have to pour in to cancel out the past water? Koshu, meaning any amount. Any amount is enough. Rav Zakaya Imeravias. And this is halacha, that little letter, you got to pour in a revius. Amar of Nachman, a quart, right? Well, revius, that's what they say. Amar of Nachman, machlekes. Machlekes levasayf. What's the machlekes between whether it's a koshu or a revius? The machlekes is if you pour the water in afterwards. Aval betchila, if you pour the water in, if someone put water in and then someone came along and passed water, into real water, right? Then for sure that's okay. Machlekes b'sayf. Aval betchila koshu. Everyone agrees beforehand, even if there's a tiny bit of water on the floor, that's going to be enough to cancel it out. The Gemara says, for Rav Yosef, I'm a machlekes lechatchila. The machlekes is only lechatchila, but Rav Yosef, Divra Koravius. The machlekes is how much water has, if there's amount, if the water came first. The machlekes is, what happened if the water comes afterwards? Sorry, but Levasayf, everyone agrees you need a Ravisa that came afterwards. So Amalei Rav Yosef, L'shmei Aisila Ravisa, the Mayakar Ravizera. I heard you have to put a Ravisa in like the Zakai. Let's take a look in Rashi, because you'll think to yourself, like, what's going on over here? Before, after, who cares? Who cares if the water came first, if the urine came first? We're on Chafei, on the base, the middle of the white lines. So it says the gemorah, it says Rashi, Ava B'tchila. So take a look in Rashi. Ava B'tchila. Who cares if it came first? Rashi says, Ava B'tchila shekodma mayim lemei reglayim. If the water came before the urine, divrei kol kolshu, then everyone agrees, even a tiny bit of water is going to cancel out the stuff that comes afterwards. Why? Shematel meraglayim bekli levasayf. When a person passes water afterwards, rishon shenayf l'toicha mayim isbatel. Every drop of water that comes in slowly gets cancelled out. So there's water there first. As this guy's passing water, each drop gets cancelled. You can never outdo the water because the water's there first. So it's always being cancelled out. Even if the guy passes tons of water afterwards, it's all cancelled. That's the difference. So if the water's there first, even the kolshu is fine. That's going to cancel out because whatever you pour in afterwards, that gets cancelled. He's got a little bit of water there. He's got a cup of water. A guy starts passing water. Every drop that comes in cancelled. Now it's all water. Everything, it always becomes all water straight away. So the question is so what's the tzad the other way around then? So if the guy has, why shouldn't it work the other way? If the urine is there first, right? And then he pours in regular, clean, natural spring mineral water, so why doesn't that water become cancelled? How does the revius help? That should also be cancelled. It goes both ways, right? That's the kasha the Rishonim are dealing with over here. Why should it only go one way? So the easy way out of it is the Rashba. The Rashba says, you know what? It's got nothing to do with being cancelled out. Don't take too much into the words that he says is bottle. What he means is it's a gzera. Chazal made a gzera, you put a revius. It's nothing to do with bittul, not bittul. You pour a revius, you pour in a quart, and it's cancelled. It goes. That's the gzera, and it doesn't matter if it's before, if it's after, l'chayra, revius. It doesn't matter. Therefore, if it's if the guy passes a little bit of water, he passes a lot of water, whatever it is, you got to pour a revius, takana. And other Rishonim say no, it's totally in. The Rebbeinu answers. The Rebbeinu chalik with the Rash. Rebbeinu says, in the case where the water's there, in the case where the past water is there first, and you want to pour water in to cancel it out, there's only one way to do it. You can't pour it in slowly like a guy's passing water. You got to take the whole revius, chuck it on there one go. That way you're going to have more revius. But if you pour the revius in just like a person passes water, drop, it is going to be cancelled out. You're right. You're 100% right. So how do you get out of that? When the guy passes water, he doesn't just drop a liter of water. It comes out slowly. It comes out in a stream. So you want to cancel out the water, you've got to take your revius and drop it down there. That's what the gemorah is talking about. Okay. So there's going to be a big nafka mina. What happens if there's less than a revius on the floor? If there's less than a revius on the floor, do you have to pour more than a revius to cancel it out? According to Rashba, you always need a revius. According to Rabbeinu Yoni, you don't necessarily need a revius. As long as there's bittul, as long as if there's like a drop of water on the floor, you only have to pour a drop of water because it's working with bittul. Bittul barayv is good. Bittul helps, right? Okay, says the gemorah. Back in the gemorah. Very graphic gemorahs of it. This is maybe one of the most famous. We'll see. Tana Rabbana. Graf shel rei v'avid shel meraglayim. Also, likos kriyash makanegdan. So, what is this graf shel rei? It's a very famous. I don't know why it became like something maglabu pumi de inshi, right? Graf shel rei. What's a graf? A graf means a kli, a dish. Sharei, rei is waste, right? So you've got this dish of waste, a kli, that's full of waste, or a ovid, it's the same kli, but for past water, it's called the ovid, as opposed to a graph. For ovid shamei reglaim, also you can't say kriyishma in front of the kli. So basically, a toilet. A guy's got either a urinal or a toilet bowl, right? Those are the two things. So you can't say kriyishma. We're talking obviously about a case where it's clean. There's nothing in there. If it's dirty, you can't say kriyishma anyway, right? So we're talking about a case where you just have the bowl, right? You've got the cheres. Why should it be also? It's a big machlekes Rishonim. Take a look in Rashi. Rashi says, graph v'ovid, shneim kli cheresu. They're both made out of earthenware. They're both earthenware dishes, utensils. That's the word we're looking for. Ella shall rei kari graph, b'shal meir glaim kari ovid. They got different names, but the same idea. Also, liquid kriyish connect done. Why? Since it's designated for dirt, even though there's nothing inside it. So Rashi says that it's a kli cheres, and what they understand from Rashi is that cheres absorbs. So even if you clean this utensil, it's still got some blias inside. It's still got little bits in the kli. You can never get that out. The earthenware absorbs.
Even if it doesn't smell?
Yeah, there's no smell, l'chaira, but there's a little bit inside. So it's a disgusting kli. The kli itself, even if you've cleaned it, but it's disgusting because it's absorbed something. The Paiskim based on this will say, let's take a look at Taisvus. Graf shel rei, second to bottom Taisvus. Graf shel rei, Pirush Rashi shecheres. Shecheres belua. It's absorbing. This earthenware utensil has absorbed waste. Avakli the loibalak against chukas. If you've got a utensil that doesn't absorb, like glass doesn't absorb. What's it in? Efshe the shari. It could be it's permitted. Efshe, it doesn't say it's vada shari. Happens to be a machlekes, the remark, or it's a Mordechai that says chukas does absorb, glass does absorb. So some will say, yeah, but it doesn't absorb anywhere near the amount that cheres does. Cheres absorbs an amount that's real. It's there. Glass can absorb tiny, minuscule amounts, right? So it's not disgusting. Anyway, so next Taisvus. It's interesting. We're reading the next Taisvus because you see the little aleph over there? The Gross says this is all one Taisvus. I've never seen that before in a Taisvus, but Taisvus, he says this is all one Taisvus. There shouldn't be two dots over here. Going after the Shari, ubuvad. Taisvus carries on. Shiatel b'hem revius mayim. You've got to clean it. You could. This graph shall raise the chuchis. Taisvus saying you got this kli chuchis. It's mutter as long as you poured water in it. That's what they're saying. One long Taisvus. Of a begraf efshad leim hani mayim. But it could be with graph, as opposed to the avot, water doesn't help, because water doesn't help for gedalim. Water only helps for ketanim. Okay, so that's a machlek. So Rashi Shita is that this graph shavei, the problem is it's disgusting because it absorbs. Taisha says, based on that, if it doesn't absorb, it's made out of glass, you're fine, right? What's the other opinion? If it's not because it absorbs, the Rambam, the Rosh, they say the problem with this graph shavei is not that it's absorbed anything. Even schuches, even a glass toilet bowl, or Trump's gold toilet bowl, it's going to be also. You know why? Because it's got a shame. It's a bathroom. This utensil that you take to the doctor, the glass thing, the test tube with a guy's waste in it, it's like a bathroom. And a bathroom is disgusting. It's got a shame bathroom, and therefore, even if it's clean, it's spotlessly clean. You disinfected it. It's the cleanest thing in the house. You still can't make a bracha next to it because it's got a shame of a bathroom and it's disgusting. It's got the shame. So it doesn't matter if it's glass. It doesn't matter. We're not talking about blias over here. Absorbed, it's disgusting. Okay. Back to the gemorah. Even though it's empty. You have to pour water in to cancel out the past water. Kolshu, even a tiny bit is enough to cancel it out. Rav Zakai Omer Revis. No, you have to pour in a revis of water, preferably natural spring water. Bein ifnei hamita, bein la'achar mita. What's going on over here? We're going to see. Bein ifnei hamita, bein la'achar mita. It would appear that in those days they didn't have bathrooms like we have nowadays. And for Gedalim, they would go to the field. If they had to make big, they would go to the field. But they would have some type of bowl next to the bed that they didn't have to go in the middle of the night to the forest to pass water, right? So they have a bowl next to the bed. So now can he say Krishma next to his bed with this bowl there? It would appear that's what we're talking about. They didn't have a special room for this little bowl, right? So the Gemara says maybe it was dangerous to walk out at night. I don't know. Maybe they didn't have a 10-room house. They had one room. They lived in one room. I don't know what the story was. But they had this bowl. So next to the bed, what's the din? That's much okay. Whether the bowl is on your side of the bed or on the other side of the bed, Reb Shimon ben Gamliel says, if it's the other side of the bed, you can read Kriya Shema. If it's on your side of the bed, Einu Kaira. Aval, what you do, move away from your bed 2 feet, 2 meters, 4 feet, and then you can say Kriya Shema. Reb Shimon ben Elazar, he argues, even if your house is 100 feet long, right, you still can't say Kriya Shema if it's in your house. You got to get it out of the house. Open the door, you got like a little hatch there where the pets come in, put it outside. There's another option. You could put this bowl under the bed, and then the bed is like a cover. So you can say Kriya Shema. The bed's covering it. So they asked him, what does it mean? In what case can you say it if it's behind the bed? If it's near you, if it's on your side of the bed, you should distance yourself 4 feet. This is what it means. In which case did he say you've got to distance yourself 4 feet? If it's on your side of the bed, if it's on the other side of the bed. And if you have the on the other side of the bed, if it's on your side of the bed, you can't read it at all. So Tashma, let's prove it from this. The Tanya, it says in the Baisa, Reb Shimon ben Elazar, if it's on the other side of the bed, you can say Kriya Shema. If it's on your side of the bed, if it's on your side of the bed, you have to distance yourself 4 amas. And Reb Shimon Gamliel says, so if you'll notice, the opinions have been switched. Or you put it under the bed. So the Gemara says, so this kasha we had, that's been answered. We no longer have this kasha, but of where the 4 amas is, but now we've got a contradiction. In this price, it says the Reb Shimon ben Elazar says that even if the house is 100 amas, and the other price is the other way around. So what is it going to be? You got a kasha now. Rav Yosef says, sorry, I skipped a line over here. So the Gemara says, let's switch around the opinions in the second brisa. So the Gemara asks, why did you switch the second brisa? Switch the first brisa. So man shamas lay the amakula bais arbamas. Who is the shita that says your whole house, even if it's 100 feet long, is one thing, is like arbamas? Reb Shimon ben Elazar, that is the shita of Reb Shimon ben Elazar, and it's a discussion in the Paiskim, like where is this Reb Shimon ben Elazar? But that's his opinion. That's why he switched to the second one, not the first one. On Rav Yosef, by the name of Rav Huna, mitapachas mishleisha. Rav Yosef asked Rav Huna, if the bed is less than 3 tefachim high, and you could put this bowl under the bed, right? Pshitali tekalov domi. It's possible under 3 tefachim, if it's under 30 centimeters high, that's like the bed is lowered. It's like it's attached to the floor, so to speak. And therefore, this bowl is like it's toman. It's like it's dug in the ground. It's like the bed and the ground is all one thing, and that this bowl is like stuck in the ground. You can say krishma. It's like you covered it with mud, right? What about Arba, Chamesha, Shisha, Shiva, Vishmaina, Tisha, Mao? What if his bed is 6, 7, 8, 9 tfachim high? What's the din? His bed is 9 tfachim high, and there's a bowl underneath it. Can he say krishma there? Amali lo yadan. He said, I don't know. Asara vadai lemi boili. If it's 10 tfachim high, that's for sure. That for sure is no good, right? That's for sure not a kasha. Amabaye shapa others v'loy mibai. It's good you didn't ask him. Kolasar shusachrizi. We know that every time there's 10 tfachim, it's a different rishus. And hilchas abachas b'shleisha kilovodami. Less than 3 is loved. Asara shusachrisa. More than 10 is a different rishus. Meshleisha asara. Hainu debar of Yosef merafuna v'loy pashalei. From 3 to 10, that was the kasha you asked him. He never answered. It's actually a machlekes Rishonim. What exactly is the case of it? What's the shaila? Is a shaila what's considered the covering of this bowl? That's the pashas over here. Or some Rishonim want to say the shaila is when the bowl is on the other side of the bed. How high does the bed have to be in order for it to be considered mechitza? If it's 3 tfachim high, that's the floor. There's nothing there. It's lower than therefore there's no mechitza. If there's 10 tfachim, it's for sure mechitza. You can say krishma. What if it's from 3 to 10? Is that called a mechitza or not? Can you say krishma if the bowl's on the other side of the bed? That's the kasha called with them. It's not a question of is the bowl covered. Interesting machlekes. Okay, we're gonna have to wrap up and let's finish this line. Amar Rav Alach Reb Shimon ben Elazar v'chein Amar Bali Amar Yaakov Baroda Bas Shmuel, the daughter of Bas Shmuel Bali. Interesting name. Bali said Alach Reb Shimon ben Elazar. We pass now Reb Shimon ben Elazar. Rav Amar Ein Alach Reb Shimon ben Elazar. We don't pass now Reb Shimon ben Elazar. There's a machlekes over here how we paskin. Okay, we're going to end over here. It's already a new sugya. Okay, Shkach, have a wonderful day. Thank you for your comments.
Sorry.